I've loved every day I've been in this job, says Adam Silver, and I think there's nothing but enormous opportunity ahead for this league. And ultimately, I realize I'm just passing through like every player who's gone through this league. So ultimately, like every owner, and I feel an enormous obligation to the fans and this greater NBA family to do my best and try my hardest every day. But that's where 100% of my focus is. So, Dan, as we bring you back in, what are you hearing about the owners trying to persuade Silver?
I think it's important for people to understand that this is not likely to lead to anything, except maybe huge raises for Adam Silver if he can scare the NBA into thinking the NFL is trying to steal him. But I think, if NFL owners have gone to Adam Silver over the past couple of years, I think it's important for people to understand why that might be happening. There's a sentiment among NFL owners over the past couple of years that the league has taken too much of a public relations beating on some issues. One example I will use is the issue of social injustice protests during the national anthem. Go back to last May when the owners passed that new rule that they never implemented, requiring players to either stand or stay in the locker room during the national anthem. There were owners and people in those circles who were saying to me, why are people so upset with us? The NBA rule is even more restrictive, and they don't get this much grief. So obviously, there are plenty of answers to that question, and we could get into those. But fundamentally, from the perspective of NFL owners, there has been a little bit of dismay in terms of some of the way these things have been handled publicly. They look at the NBA and say public relations are going a little better with that league. And so it's natural to think that maybe they want to at least pick a guy's brain on how those things are handled in a different league.
Thanks for the perspective, Dan Graziano, NFL insider. Bobby and Dominique back here at the desk. And Greeny, the PR perspective of it is very interesting.
Yeah, we're talking about two such different groups of people. The NBA owners and the NFL owners are very different collections of people. But I immediately want to go to Dominique on this, because you have been in closed-door meetings with Roger Goodell during the height of collective bargaining negotiations as the president of the Players Association, which you once were. So you have a completely different perspective than anyone else. What do you make of this?
Oh, yeah, and I've been in those same meetings with Adam Silver, so I understand both of them very well. I don't think they're very different, but I think this story is, it's a cute story. It's not something that's actually going to come to fruition, because as much as we give Roger Goodell a hard time, his biggest sin is he's bad on TV. And he's bad under pressure. He's a very smart, savvy operator behind closed doors. And we saw that when when Jerry Jones came for his neck. That was dead. That story was dead in no time, because Roger Goodell has power. And I don't think, even if Adam Silver was interested in taking this job, I don't think this is a job that he can take, because a lot of the decisions that Roger Goodell has made over the years, the decisions that we think are dumb, were important decisions to get the power brokers, as far as ownership, that he needs on his side. Those people on his side, they cannot get 3/5 or however many they need to get Roger Goodell out. They cannot do that.
So I guess when you look at that, to me, there's the flirtation that's going on between some of these owners. That means that they're unhappy with their current guy. Like Dominic said, he's bad on television. But if you look at the two leagues, NBA, pro player league, NFL, pro owner league. And so you think about this, AD says he wants to be traded, he wants to go to LA. That's eventually most likely going to happen. You look at Nick Foles, he opts out of his contract, they slap the franchise tag on him. They're trying to restrict player mobility. Adam Silver says, I'm just one of the players just passing through. You would never see anybody say that on the NFL side. They never want to try to equate themselves to the NFL players. They all view themselves above those guys.
I want to know which NFL owners asked for Adam Silver.
I'm sure that they all would love to talk to him. I don't think anyone actually wants to make that move. And I think the vote is 2/3. I said 3/5, which has different connotations.
Fractions, they're difficult.
Listen, at the end of the day, I completely agree with what you say. The perception of Roger Goodell and who and what he actually is are two completely different things. He represents a group of people that I think are not an easy collection of people to represent for any number of reasons. If you want to look at the social justice piece of this, the notion that they would blame that on Goodell is beyond my ability to comprehend. So I agree completely with what you said. At the end of the day, he doesn't come off in public the way Silver does, and that's the biggest difference.
The discipline issues that they had also, I think, also falls on the owners more than it falls on Roger Goodell.